Good day, everyone, and welcome to Home at the Hollow. My name is Glennis, and welcome to my kitchen. Thank y'all so much for joining me today. If you are a new subscriber, thank you. I so appreciate it. And if you are returning and have been with me through this journey, thank y'all all so much. I really so appreciate the support. But today's recipe is getting started on holiday cooking, baking, and this is one that I make every year. I actually make several different biscotti recipes every year. I just did this on a whim. I was actually baking my next door neighbor some dog biscuits while I was doing the biscotti twice baked. I put him some dog biscuits, homemade dog biscuits in the oven in between the biscotti resting time. And I will drop a link to that video below in case you have a four-legged friend or if you know someone that does. But this is for a macadamia nut and white chocolate biscotti. This is so good with your coffee, your tea. It's perfect for dunking. And there you go. Now, the closer it comes to Christmas, I'm going to make another kind of biscotti that I have someone that I know that really loves them. I used to make those for him every single year, and I would dress them up and make them a little bit prettier for Christmas. But today, macadamia nut white chocolate biscotti. I hope that y'all give it a try. I'm going to start with a half a cup of butter, salted, unsalted, whatever that you have. And I'm going to just give that a quick stir. I've got all of my ingredients standing by. Some brown sugar and granulated sugar, and I'm going to mix these well. I've gotten it mixed up to the best of my ability. I'm going to add 2 room temperature eggs. And now this really depends on what you have in your pantry. At this point, you can add your extracts, a teaspoon of vanilla extract and half a teaspoon of almond extract, which I do have here. But I thought, well, let's experiment a little bit. So I've got a couple of tablespoons of amaretto, and that's what I have here. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of amaretto. This is going to be just really decadent. It's going to be so good. And get this mixed up very well. I've got my 2 and I believe 2 1/4 cups. All of the measurements will be in the description box below. My baking powder and a little bit of salt. And I'm going to give this just a little bit of a whisk. I wish that y'all could smell the amaretto here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a little bit of it here and there, maybe half of it, and give it let it get moistened up, because you don't want to dump all of it in there and have everything seized up. I wouldn't want to anyway. I haven't made biscotti in a very long time, and my memory is that I'm very messy making biscotti. When it comes to the process of bringing it out and slicing it up and then baking it again, I can definitely see the crumbs flying. But let me finish this and I'll be right back. And that took all of just a couple of minutes, but I still need to scrape the sides. I've got about 2/3 of a cup of roughly chopped macadamias. I'm going to just push them in And this is about 2/3 of a cup, although this is really a healthy 2/3 of a cup of white chocolate morsels, or white morsels, or whatever you want to call them, because I don't think technically, I'm not really sure if you can call it white chocolate, but. And to get this blended well, and that's looking pretty good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pan set up. We're going to get involved in some hand action in just a second. So yikes, that's heavy. This is going to be really very sticky dough. So you definitely want to, flour your hands up a little bit. I'm not too worried about the parchment. And let's see if we can get this. Yikes. And turn this out a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely going to be sticky. But oh my goodness, it smells so good. So good. So this was a very wet dough. As you can see, very wet. And I added and added to it, and overall, I'm happy with it. What I'm going to do is to take this and, a rough half, and I'm going to take each side and pat it out to 10 by 2. You want it to be narrow and long. And I probably, knowing me, I probably will bring a ruler out and go, okay, let's measure this up and see. It's really not very hard. For me, it's more messy than anything. Okay. I think I'm gonna take that out a little bit more, because really it's kind of like the dog biscuits that I made earlier today. It's more a matter of, making sure that they are the right, where I want to see them at as far as the measurements, and the oven actually doing what the oven does best, which is basically going to be, it is baking it, but it's also going to be drying it at the same time. And that looks pretty good to me. And yes, I did measure it, roughly 10 by 2. This seems to me more than 2, and I think that it is, but I think it's going to work just fine. You want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. 350 degrees, 20 to 30 minutes, until it starts to turn a light golden brown, and your home is going to smell amazing. At this point, it's going to just permeate the whole house, but 350, 20 to 30 minutes. So I have reached the end of my 20 minutes, but as I look in here, these are nowhere near golden brown. Another 10, 15 minutes, I think. So I am at the end of my 30 minutes. I'm going to just reach down here and take this out, and I'll show y'all. Y'all excuse, this is my dinner here, but you can see they spread quite a bit. Don't panic about that. But I'm turning my oven off. If you have something else at 350 that you want to bake, you just go for it. But I'm turning mine off because I want these to sit for half an hour, just like they are. And as soon as the half an hour is passed, I will come and cut these. This has been cooling for an hour. The other one is still over on the baking sheet, but if you have a spray bottle, I could not find mine. I looked all over, but what I do have is I have a little bit of water here, and I'm going to just give it a very light sprinkling, a little go over, and give this about 5 minutes before I cut it. I've turned my oven back on, not to 350, but to 325. I spritzed just a little bit of water on this, and as you can see, this is pretty sturdy. And I'm gonna just start cutting this, and this is kind of where I make a wee bit of a mess. About a 1/2 inch or so you want to slice these at. Now I guess I should try to slice them straight. That's probably, you know, more than a 1/2 inch, but I think that you can kind of see where it is taking shape. Now at this point, and I did put a fresh sheet of parchment paper on there, but I'll just do this really as quickly as I can. Just set this aside and move this just ever so slightly, but once you have them like this, just place them on the baking sheet and just make sure you don't want to place them together like this. But in essence, at 325 for another 30 minutes, you are baking them slightly, but you are definitely going to be drying them. And at this point, now where you get it sliced like this, at this point, if you want, you can wrap these in wax paper, put them in a freezer bag, throw them in the freezer for up to 3 months. And, you know, at that point in time where you need it, if, you know, you're having unexpected company or something, but take them out of the freezer, defrost them, and continue to bake them just like I'm doing now, 325 for 30 minutes. So if you want to, you know, do one and maybe freeze the other one, or, you know, freeze it all, or whatever, what have you. But I've turned my oven back on, and we'll go for another 30 minutes.